Hello, 5th grade. We're going to continue with your Chapter 8 review on page 193 in your textbook. The first part asks you to write a fraction that makes a true statement. So when you multiply by fractions, if you multiply times a fraction that is equivalent to 1, you get an equivalent fraction to what you started with. If you multiply by a fraction less than 1, you get a smaller fraction than what you started with. And if you multiply by a fraction greater than 1, you get a fraction greater than what you started with. So on this first part, you're going to do the evens on this page. Number 48 says 2/5 times what equals something greater than 2/5. So let's do an example. So this is number 48, and I am on page 193. 2/5 times something equals something greater than 2/5. I need to put a fraction in here that's greater than 1. Remember, for a fraction to be greater than 1, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So I can say 7/5, or I could say 3/2, or I could say 5/3, or 10 halves. Any of those would make this a true statement. So if you multiply by a fraction greater than 1, you're going to get a fraction greater than what you started with. So let's say this is not what the problem says, but let's say it did say 2/5 times something equals something less than 2/5. Then I would multiply by a fraction that's less than 1 to make that a true statement. And if it said to multiply by something to make them equal, it would be a fraction equivalent to 1. Which means numerator and denominator are the same. Nope, it should be 4/4. But it was asking for a fraction that would make 2/5 greater than 2/5. Remember, that's what the question actually asks. So you'd put something like this: 7/2, 3/2, 5/4. As long as the fraction is greater than 1, you'll come up with a product greater than what you started with. So that's the first part. The second part is ask you to rename your mixed number as an improper fraction. So remember to do that. You take your whole number and you multiply it times your denominator. 2 times 8 is 16. Add your numerator. 16 plus 3 is 19. So this equals 19/8. That's all you have to do on that part. And the next part, it says use the area formula to find the area of the rectangle. Remember, area equals length times width. Length times width. So number 52, we have a rectangle here with a length of 2 5/8 inches and a width of 10 inches. This is number 52. So I have to multiply 2 5/8 times 10 to find the area. So I need to change this to an improper fraction. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 5 is 21, so 21/8. Make 10 into a fraction, 10/1. I can simplify, dividing both of these by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And if I multiply, 4 times 1 is 4. And then 21 times 5 would be 105. So then I need to divide 105 divided by 4. So you can do a division problem, or you can do it in your head. I know that 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. Bring down my 5. 4 goes into 25 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24, with 1 left over. So it would be 26 1/4. So the area is 26 1/4 inches squared, is what number 52 would be. Okay, so on a couple of them, they have the rectangles drawn for you, but then on some, they just, like on number 66, it just says 2 1/6 inches by 4 1/2 inches. That just means that the width is 2 1/6 inches and the length is 4 1/2 inches. So remember, area equals length times width. So multiply 2 1/6 times 4 1/2 So first we have to change these to improper fractions. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So 13 sixths times 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 9 halves. And I see that I can divide 6 and 9 by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So then I get 39 fourths. And then 4 goes into 39 9 times with 3 left over. So 9 3/4 inches squared would be the area of that rectangle. Okay, and the next part is just more multiplying, which we were just doing with the area. All right, and then you have 2 word problems, but you don't actually have to do number 78. You can stop at number 77. Number 77, read the problem, and then you just have to write this and fill in the blanks with a number. How many equal rows and how many equal columns do you have to draw? Read the problem to figure that out. And then on Tuesday during Zoom at 12 o'clock, we will go over all of the answers. So make sure you do it Monday and submit it to me, and then we'll check it all on Tuesday during Zoom. And then on Wednesday, you will have your Chapter 8 test.